Hello, my friend. Today we are talking all about gut health. We're gonna get straight into the 7 tips. Do not skip over this part. I know it's very tempting to just get into the tips, but here's the thing. The digestive process requires us to be in a parasympathetic state of not being in the fight or flight. And I think a lot of the times when we hear information, it can invite us to sort of feel like we have to take all this action and it's so overwhelming. Just know that you're not alone, and that is exactly why I'm making this video, is to help you. My goal is for you leaving this video is to be empowered and to realize, wow, there's so many things I can do to nourish my gut. That being said, none of this is medical advice. It's just for educational, informational purposes only. So buckle up, let's get into it. Okay, so number 1 is to do damage control. There are general foods that can be really agitating and really irritate the gut lining. So if you are struggling with bloating and just feeling really uncomfortable, by the way, I'm sorry I use my hands when I talk, and it's really hard for me to not do that. So if it bothers you, just listen to this like a podcast episode. Anyway, damage control. So you want to assess what is bothering your gut. And here's the thing, you do not have to cut out foods forever. You certainly don't have to do that. However, it can be very helpful during a time when your gut is inflamed, irritated, if you're constantly bloated, feeling uncomfortable. This is a good time to try out to eliminate certain foods that can be irritating. Not forever, just for a season, while we get into the next tips where you can soothe and restore and repair your lining. This is gonna look different for everybody. However, some of the foods that really can be very irritating is gluten, something like sourdough where you're fermenting it and it's so much easier to digest, and it actually makes the nutrients in the wheat so much more bioavailable. And I've heard and I have found personally that the fermentation really makes such a massive difference. It's not that everyone has to go gluten-free and that gluten-free is even a trend or a fad. Unfortunately, I believe it was 2007 when there was just a massive increase in glyphosate usage, which is the pesticide that they spray on wheat. And that can be very, very irritating to our digestive tract, and also irritating, not just irritating, it really affects the mitochondrial. It actually has like a direct effect on our cells and the mitochondria specifically. I remember reading a study about that, but I can't remember all the nitty-gritty details. This is literally just to help you. Just remember that glyphosate can really have such a big impact, and I know that it can be really overwhelming, and we live in such a time where it is hard. It's hard to eat organic, and it's really just impossible or unrealistic for a lot of people. And so, however, if you are really experiencing a lot of digestive issues, one thing that can be really, really helpful and make a really big impact is switching to organic wheat, where you make your own sourdough, or you eliminate that wheat in general that isn't organic because of the glyphosate, and it's just gonna have such a big impact on your gut health. Other things that can be really irritating as well are improperly prepared beans. And so there's a reason that we can get very gassy after eating beans. Something that can really help is if you soak them and, again, properly prepare those legumes. And then as well as cruciferous vegetables. If you are experiencing a lot of digestive distress right now, cruciferous vegetables and like a lot of raw leafy greens can be so incredibly just agitating and really make you very bloated and irritated. I think what I find is a lot of people think, oh, you know, cruciferous vegetables, like that's so healthy, I'm just gonna eat a ton of that. And then they find that they're having a difficult time digesting those things and their digestive system is experiencing distress. And then they're like, but I'm eating so healthy, why is this happening? And they don't really think about those foods maybe being a trigger. It can be really, really helpful to really cook those very, very well and not eat them raw. So that's really the first thing, is to prevent damage in the first place. If you're constantly eating foods that are damaging your gut lining, you're constantly gonna be just fighting an uphill battle with your gut health. Nuts and homogenized dairy can be really irritating as well. For me, for years, I cut out gluten and dairy for years. I'm still gluten-free now, but again, I had the fermented sourdough and I could do it, but nevertheless, that shows you that you really can repair and heal your gut. However, I was also dairy-free for years as well. I was dairy-free for a very, very long time. And I was really sad because I love dairy. And so for me personally, I reintroduced dairy about 3 years ago, and it's made such a world of a difference for thyroid health because calcium is so incredibly important, and it's just such an easy way to get bioavailable calcium. When we don't have enough calcium, it can really impact our thyroid majorly. And I have had struggled with thyroid issues for so long, and really focusing on mineral health has been a foundational and life-changing thing. And there's so many fat-soluble vitamins and nutrients in dairy that I really just was really missing out on. So I am able to do dairy now, but I really just choose to do like Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, which is amazing. There's actually no lactose in it because of the process and how they make it. And it's a great source of calcium, vitamin K, all those things. It's really good. But also I do raw milk as well. And a lot of people do so much better on the raw milk because it has all of those enzymes, and it really is such a nutrient dense food with protein, carbohydrate, and fat. And for me personally, coming from a background where I had an eating disorder, I really don't like to view foods as good or bad. All food is just food. Even processed food, it's not good or bad, it's just processed and it can be irritating. Just having the information to being empowered and not looking at food as good or bad or anything like that can be really helpful. All that being said, I think that definitely gluten is one of the #1 things that can just be really difficult to digest and can lead to immune responses later on after all that damage has been done and the gluten is leaking out of the digestive tract, and it really can create a very big immune response. And we see that major link with Hashimoto's. So it's really important to just be mindful about your consumption of gluten if you are struggling. Okay, really quickly, I do want to say one more thing because I did take the gut Viome intelligence test. Thank you so much to Viome for sponsoring this video. They are absolutely amazing. So if you're really wanting to look into like what foods irritate you and really look at your own personal gut microbiome, I took the Viome gut intelligence test back earlier this year, and it was one of the best things I've ever done for my health because it gives you exact insights into what is going on in your gut. And so for me, it really showed me that I had high lipopolysaccharide. And by the way, I'm just putting this out there, I do not have perfect gut health. That's why I'm making this video. I'm always learning, and I genuinely just wish that somebody would have told me these things. And so that is why I'm doing it. It's just to purely help you. So I took that test earlier this year, and it really is amazing because your gut health is foundational to your hormonal health, which is why I'm making this video, because for years I struggled with gut health and hormone health. And it was really after I miscarried at the end of 2022 that I really wanted to get serious about my health in general, and really specifically my gut health. And so one of the things that I did was take the gut intelligence test from Viome, and it really is amazing because it will show you exactly what's going on with like your bile acid pathways, with your lipopolysaccharides, which is endotoxin. Endotoxin has a direct correlation with estrogen. So if you have high endotoxin, your estrogen progesterone ratio can be off, which is incredible. Like nothing is separate in the body. So if you're struggling with hormonal issues, instead of just focusing on the hormone issues, focus on the foundation of digestion first and watch how your hormones change. Because if there's endocrine issues going on and there's cracks in the foundations like gut health or mineral health, we're talking about gut health for today, but that impacts our mineral status if we can't digest our food well. I mean, everything really is so interconnected. But once I took that test and really got to see exactly what is going on in my gut, it was so helpful for me because I could really then take the steps to really focus on bile support, lowering the endotoxin, and it gave me a lot of answers. Like it just really, man, I feel like I spent so many years looking for answers. Like, why do I have low progesterone? Why do I have all these issues? And the gut test for me was really like, wow, it was just answers, and answers, they just make me exhale. So comforting to know like that there is a reason for this. This isn't just randomly happening. This isn't for no reason. There is a reason, and then it gives you hope because you're like, I can do this. I can work on this. It was just so reassuring to me to actually see, oh, okay, there we go. High lipopolysaccharides, which is the so the gram-negative bacteria produce endotoxin in the gut, lipopolysaccharides, and it causes a lot of inflammation in the body, and it just really wreaks havoc, and again, directly impacts has a correlation with our estrogen. So high lipopolysaccharides, high estrogen, and you're gonna have a lower progesterone ratio, which is really, it's all about the ratio. It's really important. So, and it's cool too, because you can actually see right now with your gut and where it's at, what foods are going to be irritating and what foods that you can minimize and what foods that you really want to include, and just how you want to nourish your body specifically for the season that it's in right now, which I think is so helpful, because it's just awesome to know, like, hey, I don't have to eliminate this forever, but right now while I'm working on my gut, these foods are gonna be irritating, so I'm not gonna eat those right now. Again, damage control. So if you're wanting to look into your gut health and really get an insight, the Viome gut test was seriously one of the best things that I've ever done for my health. And it's so awesome because they're gonna give you $110 off of your test. It was so easy to do. And I am telling you right now that I really wish I would have done this years ago. I just didn't know about it. And that is literally why I make these videos, is to help you. And so if you really are struggling, you want to have answers, you can get $110 off of any test that Viome does, but I love the gut intelligence test, and this is the one that I did personally. It's an at-home gut test, and you can use Cambria 110 and get $110 off of your test. So I will link it in the description box. That was the pivotal moment where my gut health really shifted to start taking action on promoting good bile and lowering those endotoxin and everything like that. And again, has a direct impact on your hormones. It's amazing. So links in the description box. Cambria 110 for $110 off of your test. Okay, the next step, number 2, is to soothe. And we are gonna do this through certain foods like aloe vera and marshmallow root. You know when you peel open an aloe plant and you can kind of see like it looks really sticky and almost kind of like mucusy? That is what we're looking for, and that is exactly what you want. So aloe vera and marshmallow root are my 2 favorites. You could do a marshmallow root tincture, which is where you just, I'll leave a recipe in the description box. It's really easy to do. Aloe vera has been something that I have personally incorporated in the past few months, and it is amazing. If you are struggling, get aloe vera. It is so good. It is so nourishing. I love it. I was actually talking to my friend recently, and she was telling me how when she had the worst gut issues after she picked up a parasite, which was really bad, and she was super, super sick, dealt with it, but just really suffered with gut issues for a long time after that. And she said that she discovered aloe vera, and this was years ago. She discovered aloe vera and she started drinking it every single day, and she was like, it was literally miraculous at soothing and just like healing and fixing my gut. And so I was like, oh, that's so cool. It's incredibly hydrating. It is full of so many micronutrients. It is amazing. It's a great source of potassium, and I cannot recommend it enough. So that is the second step. We want to remove the damage control, and we want to soothe with mucus-like things. Aloe vera and marshmallow root, those are my 2 favorite for soothe. We keep it short and simple. Those are the 2 for soothe. Next up, we have bind, and this is where we're going to bind onto toxins, irritants. Charcoal is amazing. Fun little fact, not a fun fact, it's actually a really sad fact. When I was a little girl, I ate snail poisoning, and I was airlifted to Chalk Children's Hospital, and I almost really didn't make it, and the doctors actually pumped my stomach full of charcoal, and here I am today. Charcoal is one of the most powerful yet gentle, effective remedies for binding up to things. It will really bind onto everything, so you don't want to eat it necessarily with your food. You want to take it away from food because it is a binder, and so it can bind up to those toxins and help you to remove them. That's the thing. If you have a disrupted microbiome, you've got infections and you've got certain things going on down there, pathogens that have taken over because there's not enough friendly bacteria, they can release toxins like we talked about, the endotoxin, they can release toxins and it just causes more inflammation and more irritation. So charcoal is really, really amazing. And at binding, another thing that has been super life-changing for me is systemic enzymes. And if you are experiencing, talk to your doctor. None of this is medical advice, just my story and just educational purposes only. Systemic enzymes can help to break down undigested proteins and damaged cells, toxins, all that kind of stuff. Can really help to break it down so that they're no longer able to cause inflammation and irritation. And systemic enzymes have quite literally been life-changing for me. I know this sounds like super crazy, but I always had a mole on my face right here. I don't know if you can like kind of see it. It used to be really, 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 really dark. I don't know if it was a mole. I don't know what you call it, like a skin tag, I don't know. And when I started taking the systemic enzymes, I literally woke up one morning and it was gone. Like it had fallen off of my face. And I was like, it was kind of freaky, to be honest. Systemic enzymes are very powerful and they can be a great addition to a gut that is struggling. Charcoal and the enzymes, we're gonna bind things up, we're gonna break it down, we're gonna bind it up, and we're gonna get it out so that it can't cause any more irritation. Okay, the next thing is to kill. And this is very aggressive, but there's no other way to put it, because if you do have pathogens in there, like candida, viruses, anything like that, something that has literally changed my life is something called monolaurin. It is actually just lauric acid. It's a derivative of coconut oil. It's anti-microbial, antibacterial, amazing at viral, everything. It is so powerful, and yet it is not going to disrupt the good bacteria in your gut. You could also just do coconut oil, but if you're looking for something like that's gonna be a hard hitter, monolaurin is amazing. There's H. pylori, there's overgrowth of candida, there's Epstein-Barr, there's a million different pathogens, and there's a lot of different things out there that can be helpful, but one of the things that I really have just found to be very life-changing is monolaurin. So monolaurin is known to break down the structure of the viruses, and so it actually helps your body to attack and get rid of them, and it's amazing. It is amazing, and it's literally derived from coconut oil, so it's really a natural thing. It really helped Bo when he was having an infection a few months ago. I gave him a lot of monolaurin and it kicked it in the butt. For a lot of my life, I've struggled with candida overgrowth, and if you watch some of my recent videos, you'll have seen that I talked about my story in that. For years, I went to the doctor, I was put on extreme antifungals, I was put on a no sugar diet. We're talking not even blueberries. Like, I didn't eat any sugar, I didn't eat any carbohydrate, nothing, because I didn't want to feed the yeast, and that is what my doctor, my naturopath told me to do, put me on, and I remember doing it for such a long time, and I'll never forget the day that I walked into his office and he was like, "Are you taking your antifungals?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." And he was like, "Are you eating sugar?" And I was like, I literally, I haven't even eaten a blueberry. Like, maybe I ate one blueberry. And he said, "Your candida is worse than ever before." And we just kept increasing the dose. Nothing ever worked. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this. And if you would have seen my tongue before and afters, a lot of the tips that I'm talking about, actually all the tips I'm talking about, are what I've used to help out myself and my gut and work on the candida overgrowth, the lipopolysaccharides, all these endotoxins, all this stuff. But candida produces a biofilm so that it kind of like hides from your body, and monolaurin breaks down that biofilm so that your body can get rid of it. And then the monolaurin can actually act on the candida, and also then you can focus on repopulating your gut with targeted probiotics. Okay, so now that we're done with kill, not my favorite word, now we're gonna go into seal. And one of the things that really helped me when I was in the thick years ago of gut issues and bloating, if you're having like really bad bloating, really irritated gut, l-glutamine is so restorative and so just, it's a great addition to your diet that's really gonna help to repair your gut. If you're having leaky gut symptoms, l-glutamine is a hero. It is really the superstar at fixing that, and I didn't take it forever, and you don't have to take it forever. It's really just kind of an easy first line defense that you can take for a period of time, as you restore your gut lining and barrier. That's the thing, when you are stressed out or you are experiencing stress from a disrupted gut with pathogens or overgrowth or anything like that, L-glutamine is like the first to go. So the more stressed you are, the faster it goes, and that's why it's so helpful in using that to nourish your body and giving your body literally what it needs to repair and restore. Okay, the next step is to reintroduce, and this is where we're gonna reintroduce healthy good bacteria with our probiotics. I could say a lot about probiotics, and I know it can be very, very overwhelming, but I really love spore-based probiotics, and I just wanna read you this study. A clinical trial conducted at the University of North Texas demonstrated that 30-day supplementation of spore probiotics significantly reduced blood endotoxins by a net 78% difference compared to endotoxin and triglyceride levels in the placebo group. 78%. 78. Really find what strains are gonna work for you, which is why it's really important to do the gut test, and what was so helpful for me in figuring out what strains I needed through taking the gut test. And if I would have never done that, I would have never figured out the strains that I personally needed, and I would have never actually got my tongue and the candida overgrowth in general to actually be like a normal tongue. And last but not least is feed. And that is why we are going to feed our microbiome all the goodness that it needs, like fiber. It's really, if you're struggling, you don't want to necessarily do like a lot of, again, cruciferous vegetables or like even leafy greens, because it can be really hard to digest. In fact, cellulose we can't digest. And so things like fruit, apples, you can do cooked apples. Oh my gosh, I love to cook apples, and don't even get me started, it's almost fall. So yes, that pumpkin pie can absolutely be beneficial to your gut bacteria. And remember that when you eat in a parasympathetic state and you have a grateful heart and a thankful heart, and you are genuinely excited to eat your food, every single thing can be nourishing. My camera's gonna die, so we're gonna keep this short and sweet, including those delicious fiber-rich foods like sweet potato. You can even do avocado, mangoes, and veggies that are going to add in that good fiber and really feed your gut microbiome, as well as, of course, like sauerkraut. Sometimes that can be a bit too much though if you are experiencing irritation. So really just those really nice fruits, roots can be so unbelievably beneficial and nourishing to your microbiome and feed all those good bacteria. I really hope that this did help you, and don't forget to check the description box for links to everything that's gonna be helpful for you, and also to the Viome Gut Intelligence Test, where you can get $110 off if you are wanting to look into your specific microbiome and get amazing answers. And again, just remember that our gut really is majorly impacted by just our ability to relax and breathe deeply, enjoy your food, cook your food, smell your food, turn on music, light a candle, make your life nourishing, and your food will nourish you even more. So I love you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.